Hello everyone, my name is BuddyBear83, and welcome back to Quantum Love Theory. I'm sorry, that's the wrong series. It is early in the morning and I'm tired. I meant welcome back to Password. In the last episode, we hung out with Sal. We made pancakes, we took a shower, and now we're investigating I think the crime scene that's where Sal died. Or at least could have died. I don't know what's gonna happen now, but we'll see. Without a further ado, let's get started. But when we entered, what are you two doing? Tyson had a fresh cup of coffee in his hand, and I found myself ga- conchavating towards it out of instinct. Investigating. Investigating what? Ooh, I like this music. As I made my As I made to reach for the coffee, Tyson stepped away, taking a swig from the mug. Dave has been worried lately. Oi, you being a brat? I saw what happened at breakfast. I'm fine. Mostly. Bullshit. So, what got you worried about the kitchen? Lack of coffee? Not quite. Do you remember, when the whole thing with Benson happened, Ty? Kinda hard to forget something like that. Looking around the place for a fucking gun. Right, well, I can't really look more into that, but might have messed with the vault before then. Okay. He apparently saw me stuck in a freezer. Doesn't sound so bad. Well, you say that, but, well, do you remember when you got left in the snow, Ty? Oh, yeah, that shit sucked. Probably would've. Oh. Right, so, wondering if that happened. As I was talking to Ty, Sal wandered closer to the freezer, looking at the control panel next to it. Well, unless we walked in there and decided to take a nap, you'd be fine, right? There's more compilation. Blah. Well, there's more completions than that. Blah, I cannot talk this morning. Well, there's more complications than just that. Like what? It's complicated? Tyson sighed, moving to a grumbling soon after. He got the coffee pot going again before turning to me again. You're being a brat. I'm not. I'm just, I struggled for the words, but Ty picked up the slack. Not what I meant. You're doing that thing where you try to ignore that a whole bunch of shit is bothering you and it's annoying. You could be helping, you know. The fuck is that supposed to mean? You talk a big game and care for Dave a lot, but you don't seem too keen on actually doing anything about it. Oh shit. Please don't fight. Say that again. You called him a brat and offer no solution. You're the one that's being a brat. Oh god. Please don't fight right now. My eyes widened as I looked from side to Ty. His jaw was clenched, gripping his coffee tightly as he stared down Sal. He didn't say anything, but he was for sure sizing Sal up. The problem was, though, that Sal was taller and broader, not to mention a lot more solid. So, you can either help and perhaps make him feel a bit better, like I'm trying to do, or you can do me a favor and drink your coffee quietly while we figure things out. Sal, is that? Ty knocked back to the rest of his coffee Ty knocked back the rest of his coffee before slamming the mug down on the counter. He was wondering that he didn't break it.
Fuck you. I can help plenty.
Good.
Oi, Dave. Where do we start?
I blinked, surprised that Tyson had been considered into helping us so easily. Not that I wasn't thankful, but I haven't seen Tyson react like that before. Not directly, at least. Oh, well, I guess the freezer? He stomped over to the freezer and started looking over the door, trying to open it.
What's up with this door? Why is it so hard to open?
It shouldn't be.
Well, it is.
Maybe you're just doing it wrong?
Yeah, right. Look, I don't know how to open a fucking door.
I don't think he's doing this wrong. I remember Orlando mentioning something about the freezer door getting stuck, sometimes the following morning.
The following morning? After what?
That's, we should probably tell him.
Tell me what?
Oh, when I messed with the vault. Specifically, he's talking about finding me sleepwalking.
Huh? You sleepwalk? I thought that didn't exist.
What the fuck do you mean that didn't exist? Apparently, it does. Right, which is why, freezer.
Well, well, that does explain something.
Explain what, though?
Yeah, ran into you one night, just wandering around. Assumed you were just getting a glass of water or something.
Me? What? Wandering around?
Yeah. Not that you said anything, just grunting and continued on your way.
When was this?
Shit, I don't remember. A week ago, maybe?
Well, maybe you were sleepwalking then, Sal. It's possible. I believe that's around the time that I took some medication, assuming we're sure that's what the cause is.
You have medication for sleepwalking?
For sleeping, but not specifically for sleepwalking. It's a side effect. Probably because it's for, well, it's Dean's medication.
Why would Dean have medication that makes him sleepwalk?
Did you just ignore the part where he said it was a side effect? Still, he has trouble sleeping, and so do I, at least recently. I don't think I even really got a proper answer as to why.
You struggle with sleeping normally?
Only since arriving here. Dean's thing is more, ongoing.
Yeah, I got the gist of it from already.
Blah.
Yeah, I've gotten the gist of it from him already. Didn't know that he took medication for it, though.
He told you? Well, I guess this situation is a bit more complicated than mine, but maybe I've just been stressed out a bit.
With how you looked the other night? Yeah, no shit. If I had known you were stressed, I would have told you to go chill for a bit.
Sal looked at me slowly, eyes wide. It took me a few moments before I clued into what he was exactly wrong. Was this how he ended up in the freezer?
What?
Chill. Freezer.
Give me a break. No way he'd take that to mean go freeze to death in the freezer.
Maybe, but still. Perhaps he's right. Who, Ty? Right. There'd be a chance that could happen, but if someone wanted me there intentionally, it'd be better to just tell me then, right? Well, yeah, but you said it in the greenhouse. Ugh. Mm. I gestured to my neck, hoping he'd get the message. Right, and I still agree.
Agree on what?
Orlando and Dave are under the impression that when sleepwalking, I will follow directions. So, if someone really wanted to kill me. Sal lazily pointed to a knife block sitting on the corner.
Yeah, that'd do it. Then why are you looking at the freezer instead of knives?
That's just what I saw. If I seen a knife or something, that'd be more of a clue. But, like, all I got was Sal frozen, without his shirt.
You reckon hypothermia? Fucking slow way to kill someone if you ask me. Seems like an accident that happened.
It could have been an accident, but I don't think it was.
Oh yeah? Why not?
This panel that confronts the temperature, it's not set low enough to kill someone. Currently, even me.
You can't deal with the cold?
He doesn't have fur like us, Ty. So, kinda.
Well, shit. I count my blessings that you found me when you didn't. Well, shit. I'll count my blessings that you found me when you did, Dave. That must have been one cold winter.
I flashed Ty a quick smile and placed a hand on his shoulder.
So, where does that leave you? Someone catches you sleepwalking, goes and messes with the control panel, hopes you don't wake up. Whoever set this up sucks at planning murders.
Right. Maybe it was an accident. Sal shook his head, tapping the corner of the panel. I don't think so. To set this low enough, you'll need to break this panel. It's screwed in place, so unless you unscrewed it or broken it, you wouldn't be able to do much with it.
Huh. Good to know.
So, someone would have deliberately set it like this, but the knives, they'd be right here. What if I was already in the freezer and they could have opened the... What if I was in...
Blah.
My god. What if I was already in the freezer and they couldn't open the door?
Don't look at me. I didn't do it.
Well, no one did, right?
What, you think I fucking did it?
No, of course not.
It's just a door. Wouldn't do it. You can't prove shit.
Enough, Tyson. The last person that would blame you is Dave. Sal grabbed Tyson roughly by the arm, glaring at him. He was caught off guard, trembling. He grunted soon after, yanking his arm away.
Yeah, sorry. But I wouldn't do it. Too much work.
He wandered off, pouring himself more coffee as I turned to Sal. Who else could it be, though? Someone that would have known about the freezer door, likely. So that rules out Orlando. I have no reason to think that if he wanted me dead, that he wouldn't opt for a knife. Even after, well, his confession. Right. If he was that upset, he wouldn't resort to the freezer, and he knows how to use a knife.
The fuck does that? The fuck does he know how to use a knife like that?
Oh, because he cooks so often, right? Sal looked me over, going to say something a couple times before shaking his head. Regardless, it's not him.
Well, great, then who's left?
anyone that doesn't know about the door getting jammed, or anyone that is not strong enough to force the door open.
Reckon Dean would bust down the door.
Why, Dean? Oh, wait. Let's try that again. Why Dean?
I don't know. Figures if anyone can bust it open, it'd be him, right?
I don't think Dean's the culprit either.
Okay, but why?
Dean's my best friend. I trust him with my life.
Kinda the point, right? Makes a good enough opportunity.
That's not very nice, Ty. He's right, though. If Dean ever did plan something like that, I probably wouldn't question it until it's too late.
Well, shit. This is a wake-up call. Dave, you ever try anything like that on me, and I'm fucked?
I chuckled, a combination of flattered and worried as to how serious Ty was being. So, that leaves, Roswell, Haas, probably not Benson. Wait, really? Just those two? Unless you want to include you and Tyson on the list. You know what they say in Scream? Everyone's a suspect! Rest in peace, Randy.
The fuck is wrong with you? I said I didn't do it.
Which is exactly what the killer would say. Ah. Scream. But you could have. Nothing happened. But who's to say that you didn't, at the time, want me dead?
Just me. If I want anyone dead, they'd known. They would known, and then I'd just fucking kill them.
Jesus. I shrank a little, taking a step back from Ty to be closer to Cell, almost using him as a wall.
Shit, no, that's not what I
agree.
Huh?
That's the problem, though. The intent on killing someone is going to come out of nowhere, if at all. None of us seem to be looking to kill anyone. At least, no one that I've spoken to. I frowned, wondering if Osmond had been the one behind it. You couldn't have, right? Had you met Sal at some point and just decided? And you've spoken to everyone, right? Right. All 8 of us. The 7 of us, plus Benson. I slowly nodded, scratching my neck.
Guess I'll go talk to Roswell or Haas. Maybe one of them wants to do you in.
Well, we can possibly rule out Roswell, right? We can. Well, the control panel, right? I don't think he'd be able to reach it. So I looked from the ground to the panel, almost measuring the distance.
Which leaves Haas locking someone in a freezer. Doesn't seem like he's style either.
You really think so? Seems like a safe way to murder someone.
Yeah, and you reckon the cat would be likely to do that given the anime he watches?
You've been watching anime with him. You should ask me to join the anime club Orlando runs when you get a chance.
This isn't about me, shut up! Point is, Haas doesn't seem like the type to do things that way. I think we can rule him out.
I looked between the two of them, wondering where that left us. But that rules out everyone, so...
Then maybe you imagined it. Maybe it was an accident. Doesn't fucking matter, because it didn't happen. Just let it go. You'll be fine.
I whined, and Sal put a hand on my shoulder. He kneeled the spot he would. I whined, and Sal put a hand on my shoulder. He kneeled the spot he held nearby, waiting for Tyson to realize.
So, you will be fine, right?
I think so.
Well, good. I think. I'm gonna go hang with Haas. Catch you later.
Ty popped off his coffee and bailed, leaving Sal and I in the kitchen. So, Dave. Yeah? We didn't get very far, did we? I don't think so. Would anyone seen... I don't think so. Would anyone even have a reason to kill you? Not that I know of. We returned the axe, so I think that should be everything. Unless it's a case of something else. Something someone thinks I've done, but I'd be open to taking it out first. Excuse me. I wandered closer and tried to squeeze Sal as hard as I could. He returned in kind, making me squeak. Did I hurt you? Oh no, it was just a little tighter than I used to. You're very firm. Oh my god. He is so cute. There was a loud rumbling in Sal's chest as for a moment before he looked at me. He was blushing too. It was cute. I liked it. I laughed nervously, stepping away and resting back against the corner, and it took 10 days for Sal to blush. It was so worth it. Sorry, it's just something that I must have picked up from my dad. Is that a bad thing? I don't think so. It's just something I've always done, really. Well, I like it. It's very specific to you. Maybe that makes you more special. Sometimes I'd rather just be normal, Sal. Sometimes it feels like everything would be easier if I wasn't any different from anyone else. Do you really think that? To me, that seems like a bit of a waste. You can do things I can't. I can do things you can't. That means that together, we can do extraordinary things. Like what? Follow me. Sal led the way towards the foyer before heading towards the back door. We stepped out onto the back deck and Sal wandered down the stairs to stand upon the lawn. Okay, now look up. As I did, so all I saw were clouds moving slowly through the sky. What do the clouds look like to you? Straining my eyes to make out shapes, it was hard to pick. Sorry about that. It was hard to pick anything out specifically. Nothing. Nothing specific, at least. But I wasn't really all that good at making stories up for my sister. But she'd get me to tell her what the clouds looked like, and she weaved together something. It really made sense, but that was the part of the fun. So, what do you see? I watched Sal look upwards, scanning the sky with a frown. His eyes slowly widened before he shot me a quick look. Mostly just rabbits. But that's mostly because of them being white. Not sheep. Too pointy. We stare at each other for a bit in silence before I realized what Sal was implying earlier. Oh, a story about rabbits. The one I think I remember is the one where the rabbit is always running late. Oh, I know that one. I like to imagine that his pocket watch was just running a little too fast. Is that why he was late to tea? They weren't late. They were celebrating their birthday, I think. I thought it was a different rabbit. Sal started to laugh. It was contagious enough that I started to follow suit. I didn't expect it to make me feel better, but it did. We stood around for a while, just watched the clouds before Sal cleared his throat. We should probably head inside for lunch soon. Really? Have we been at it for that long already? Long enough. But still, I'm getting a little hungry, as it is. That said, though, Sal wandered back over to me, stepping up to join me back on the deck. I like spending time with you like this. It wasn't exactly the happiest activity, but I had fun. Oh, well, thanks for putting up with me for this, Sal. It does mean a lot. You were no bother. It's what friends do, right? Friends? Is that what we were? Part of me was feeling that maybe there was something else in there. Something that felt as if it was deeper than that. Maybe not necessarily best friends, as it wasn't the same thing I felt with Roswell or Orlando. Maybe some sort of mutual understanding for one another. Yeah, friends. Come on, let's head back inside. Ah. Sal wandered past me and headed inside, pausing when I wasn't directly behind him. I've been watching him move, nothing how he shifted his weight for someone so large right down to his stubby tail. Shaking myself from zoning out, Ella followed him through the open door, where we ran into the others. We all filed in the dining room before we continued onto the kitchen. I wasn't even up that late last night, and I'm yawning already. I don't know why we didn't just take the other core, but perhaps we were all just intending on making lunch without checking up with anyone else. We all made for the kitchen. We got started. As everyone moved around me, I figured I'd use the time to record what I had written down while it was still fairly fresh. Sal died in the freezer. My eyes glanced over to it while I ate. We didn't get very far, and my pen was poised over the spot on the page. I prepared to take my notes. No one seemed to have been able to pull it off. If we wanted to assume the best of everyone, which was fine, but it didn't solve the mystery of what I'd seen. The longer I stared, the less conscious of time I became until Orlando nudged me and gave me a funny look. Shaking my head at him and shoving what was left of my sandwich I was eating into my mouth, keeping my gaze averted. I excused myself and went to stand outside, drumming my fingers against the notebook as I held it. Worried that I made no progress, I wondered what the next step would be. Someone had to have killed Sal, right? It had to be someone. The more I thought about it, the more I was split between wondering what I've overlooked and what seemed to just be an accident. Dropping my notebook, I clenched my ears, moving to grab the top fur on top of my head, and the moment I got purchase of it, I started to tug. It hurt, and part of me felt like I deserved this somehow, but it didn't last long. A strong grip held my wrists by whoever was standing behind me. Don't do that. As I turned to look at Sal, I pulled my arms away from his head slowly the moment he let me go. Sorry. Don't be sorry. I felt like he was going to follow up with something, but didn't. Instead, he opted to reach out for my face, lightly running his claws through the fur on my cheeks. We barely ate lunch. Tyson asked me to check up on you. That sounds like something Ty would do. I sighed out and Sal pulled away. I felt silly, but it was hard to shake how much this was worrying me. It wasn't just Tyson. Dean asked me to, as did Roswell. I whined, rubbing my face harder. Hey, stop that. I know earlier didn't really help, but did you want to talk about it? Oh! The CG! Sal came to stand next to me. Much like earlier that morning, I sighed out, not sure on where to place my thoughts. This is really bothering you, isn't it? What do you think, Sal? I've seen you dead once. I've seen Benson dead. I'm scared that next time I won't be able to stop it. He shifted next to me, clearly uncomfortable, but I continued anyway. If I never messed with the vault downstairs, this vacation would probably gone a lot better. If you didn't, I'd be dead. He was right, and I felt guilty having said what I did, but his tone wasn't one of someone insulted or hurt over what I said. If anything, he was more reassuring than he should have been. I thanked you for that, Dave. But what if Ty is right? What if I did imagine it? Then I wouldn't have woken up next to Orlando. I'd given him a fright before checking in on you that morning. Whatever happened that night was enough to convince you and Orlando that I was in trouble, and you were brave enough to intervene. Left. So please, don't give up. I can only imagine the burdens you must bear, and wish I could shoulder them for you, but... He trailed off there, and we looked at one another's uncertain. Sal? Does it get easier? It shouldn't, but it does. But how? Why? Why'd you make it easy? I talked to Dean about things. I talked to Orlando about other things. It's mostly just a lot of talking if I normally get talked over. Do you just notice? Orlando can be cute when he's blabbering about something he's passionate about, so I don't mind. Sal chuckled, scratching the back of his head before continuing. Dean is less cute about it, but he apologizes eventually. And that doesn't upset you? I guess I took that for granted with Tyson. He normally just lets me ramble on about whatever until I notice and then laugh it off. He probably thinks you're being cute. You and him are close, so that makes sense to me. You don't think he likes that? You think he likes that? I know I do. I backed away from the edge of the deck and looked to Sal, his expression fairly stoic. I half expected a smile after comments like that. Sal, what do we do now? What did you want to do? For the most part, I feel doing more of what we were doing this morning isn't going to get us anywhere. Should we just... Sal wandered forward and placed a hand on my head. How about we go for a swim? Yes! Really? Or we could use the hot tub. Doesn't bother me. The important thing, though, is that I find it easier to relax while in the water sometimes. But what about... He placed a hand over my mouth, gently cutting me off. It takes my mind off things, if only replaced by other thoughts, by taking a break from things, if something you need. Alrighty. unfortunately, we are gonna have to leave this episode here because I have to get going soon. But this was a pretty good episode, I will say. And we got to see Sal blush for the first time. That was a nice touch. Alrighty. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And don't forget to hit that bell. This was Buddy Bear 83. Take care. Bye!